Good morning. Today I'm going to upload a video for you on how I made homemade empanadas. The dough was from scratch. All the ingredients were prep food that I had in the freezer. Pulled it all together. In under an hour, we had a fantastic dinner. Empanadas. These are filled with what I call beans and greens, pork and beef. Enjoy the video. Now know that the last few videos I have done and posted are political, and that's okay. You see, there's more to life than just eating and cooking and making recipes. And people who don't want to see it are just those who want to hide their head in the sand. There's more to me than just being a frugal shopper, a frugal cooker, and a frugal senior. I also cannot be frugal with my voice. So I hope you continue to come along and take a look at my videos that include everything that's part of No Apologies. Take a look at this video. Please give me a thumbs up. It helps the algorithms push me through YouTube further so more and more people see it. Because I'm having a challenge getting monetized. Why is that? Who knows? No one will reach out from either company, Google or YouTube, to assist. So your assistance of a thumbs up will certainly help me. I do appreciate it. Take a look at the video. Come along. No apologies. You do you, boo. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Tonight I'm going to make what I call beans and greens, beef pork, and empanadas. The flavor that I'm doing is a pork beef mixture, which is more on a Colombian style. Argentina ones I've had use kind of a barbecue sauce, sweeter empanadas. But this one is going to be ground beef with a little bit of sausage. Actually, I'm using pork. And then I'm going to put some vegetables in with it, therefore the greens, and some beans, pinto beans. So it's going to be the empanada for the night. But first we need to make the dough. And the dough has different versions. You can do all kinds of different versions of your dough. I'm doing what I think is the easiest and simplest for me. I'm using flour based. You can use masa, which is a corn base. You can use masa and corn combined. I'm doing the flour one because I'm going to bake mine. I'm not going to deep fry them. I want them in the oven. So I'm going to start making my dough. So come along. I'm going to use my dough mixer to get started. And it calls for 3 cups of flour. Now I use the King Arthur flour because it doesn't irritate me like other flours because there's no chemicals. It's pure, unbleached, untreated, pure wheat flour. So that's why I use it. It's a little bit more costly, but I'm worth it. So we're going to use 3 cups of flour. We're going to use 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of salt because I'm using my sea salt, which is a little bit more direct salt flavor than iodized. So I'm putting my 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm then going to add butter, milk, 1 egg. So I'm just going to start mixing the flour and the salt mixture. Then I'm going to add my egg, and then I will put in the butter, and then the milk. The milk calls for, you can use water or milk. I prefer milk. I think it gives it a more flakier, nice baked tasting empanada versus water, which gives it a little bit of a flour pasty taste. For me, just my preference. You do you, boo. This is the way I do it. All right, so let's just mix up this flour for a moment. Then I'm going to put in the butter. It does call for 6 ounces of butter, which is 1 stick plus 2 ounces. Or 2 tablespoons. So 1 tablespoon and 1 full stick, which is about 6 ounces total of butter. I'm going to use softened butter. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my egg in there and mix it. I'll pour the milk in slowly. Now when you use your milk or your water, pour it in slowly, gradually, so your dough becomes the wetness that you want. You want it to kind of ball up, but you also want it a little sticky, not too wet. Here we go. It calls for a half a cup of milk or a fourth of a cup of water. I'm using the milk and I'm putting it in gradually so that I can see how my dough is forming. Oh, that's nice. I don't want any more in there. That's wet enough. That's very, very nice. In fact, I might add just a little bit of flour so it's not so sticky. But look how nice that dough is. Isn't that nice? I just don't want it quite that sticky. So I'm gonna add a little bit of flour. A little at a time. That's going to do it. Yes, that's the consistency I want, where it's stretchable, pliable, not too sticky. So let's get that out of there because it's done. And that, my friends, is how simple it is to make dough. Whether you're doing empanadas, pies, cookies, cakes, it's just that simple. So don't be afraid to make your own desserts or doughs, even bread. So I'm going to get my dough put on a plate and let it set for a minute or two while we start putting the ingredients together for the empanada. See how nice that is? That is going to be a very nice dough. Not too wet, not too dry. Perfect. So I'm just going to make probably 3 or 4 different balls and let it set for a moment to let the moisture kind of mix and or dissipate. Then we're going to work on the ingredients and then we'll actually cut the individual empanadas to fill them up. Empanada, if I remember the term, just means filled pastry or dough. So we're gonna let those set there. And now we're gonna start with the empanada ingredients of the meat and the veggies. So let's get that started. And once again, you do yours any way you choose. You do you, boo. I will do me. Just gonna go ahead and use the same container. This time I'm going to put in my, what's called, my chop. I want everything to get chopped up fine, the beef and the pork. And again, you can use just beef by itself, you can do just pork by itself, or do them together. I'm going to do them together. So I'm going to cut this slightly. And this is just some sirloin. Beef choice petite sirloin. So I'm going to put the sirloin in here, like so. The rest of this is going to get wrapped, froze, and put in the freezer. Then I have one piece of pork that I did take out of the freezer and thawed it. And this is a pork loin that we bought months ago. And I'm just going to put that in with the beef. Just want to make sure there's no bone in there. I'm going to get that bone out of there. Just a little bit, not much. Right there on the end. Get that out of there. You don't want to chew into this empanada. Get a mouthful of bone. So just cut it off. There we go. Gone. Put the beef in and the pork all together. Then we're going to turn that on and let it chew everything up, almost like a ground beef, if you will. I do love my food processor, my Ninja Auto IQ Professional food processor. Here we go. That simple, that fast. We have beef and pork chopped up together. Look how wonderful that is. All right, that's gonna go in the skillet as we add the other ingredients. I've got a cup of pinto beans, been on the stove for about 25 minutes boiling, because we're gonna add the beans to this mixture as it cooks down. I'm also going to add to my empanada some carrots. I'm gonna add some tomatoes I've had frozen. Cheese will go in a little bit, as well as spinach. So I wanna get my tomatoes and my carrots chewed up with the beef and the pork. Because the carrots, I don't want big chunks. I want color, flavor, texture. So we're gonna use the grinder to grind it all together. So let's mix the vegetables up with this. So if you don't have a meat grinder at home, don't panic. If you have a Ninja, you've solved the issue. Look how nice that is. That ground all that up like a ground beef with the carrots and the tomato all together. So let's get this over to the stove. You can see I've got my beans here, and they've been cooking for about 20-25 minutes, just some pinto beans with water. And I'm gonna turn them on low. Actually, just turn them off. I think they're done. Yeah, they're good. So we'll leave those set. We're gonna start the beef right here in this one. So let's get some olive oil in there. There we go. And we'll get the meat dumped in. Just like that. Wonderful. See how nicely that chopped up all that beef and pork together with the carrot and tomato. So you can't even tell it's in there. Now, if you want to add potato to your empanada, that's pretty traditional as well. But again, I'm using beans, so I'm not going to put in potatoes. If I wasn't using beans, I certainly would do that. And if you want to make a side dish of rice, you're welcome to do so. But this is all we need to do, is cook down the meat and then start adding spices. I'm also going to add spinach leaves, already washed and handled, so in they'll go. Now you can use any type of green you would like. That's why I call it beans and greens, pork and beef empanada. All right, I need to get my onion cut, and we'll get some onion and garlic in there. I'll do it right here so you can see what's going on. Here we are. Okay. Maybe a little water in there so they don't dry out. And let's get an onion cut. Now I have onion frozen already, but I have them sliced real thin. And I want to use little chunks of onion tonight. So I went ahead and decided to use a fresh one. Oh, that's a nice juicy one. Very nice. I can smell it, and my hands are moist from the oil. Let's get this chopped. people have asked me also, where did you learn to cook, Jeff? Well, growing up, I certainly learned to cook at one of the homes I lived in. So that was the start. Then my very first gay relationship was for 10 years. I was just little, in my late 20s. And he was from Pakistan. Yep, they come in every culture. So, he was from Pakistan. So that's how I learned to cook Indian foods. My second relationship lasted 8 years. Child, I've been around. And that one was from Colombia. And so we did a lot of cooking together. My third relationship, oh yeah. I wasn't going to remain a spinster my whole life. My third relationship, he was from Guatemala. So I learned to eat and cook Guatemala food. But the premise of this story is Colombia, Guatemala are Latin countries. So empanadas are different depending on which Latin country you go to. So that's how I learned to make Latin food. And my final relationship where I met with Kevin. So now you know my story. That's how I learned to cook. Maybe one day I'll do a video on why those relationships ended. Quite fascinating, honestly. Let me know in the comments if you would like to know, my regular subscribers, and I'll give you my little sordid history. So we're going to use garlic cloves, and I'm going to use 5 of these, 6 of these is what I'm going to use. So when I talk experience, I didn't read it out of a book. I'm ground floor, on the ground, boot stomping, experience. Let's get this garlic in here. Now it's time to add the spices. You need cumin. I don't have cumin. I thought I did. It's gone. But you can make it if you use a little bit of chili powder, and smoked paprika. That is a good alternative for cumin paste whenever he eats beef. I'm also going to add in here some beef bouillon. And I have some powdered beef bouillon, which is going to go in because Kevin likes it more beefy tasty. I'm going to put in some pepper. And I like chili paste. I use a spicy chili crisp. I like to cook with that, with most anything. So in it goes. Let's stir that together. I'm going to give that a taste. Now empanadas, as you know, are dry. They're not wet. They're not like when you open it up and bite into it, it's dripping with juices. Empanadas are dry. Now, if you want to make this more tomatoey, add some tomato paste. Add tomato sauce, whatever you want to do. But empanadas traditionally are not wet. Okay, now we're going to add the beans. We've got the beans, the beef and pork mixture, our spices. The greens are the onion, carrot, tomato, and now I'm going to put in some spinach. Oh no! Look at all that. It cooks down. I won't use all of this mixture tonight, of course. What I don't use in the empanadas will get frozen tagged on the bag of what it is, and I have it ready, prepped to use another time. See how nicely that spinach cooks down? Look at that. All right, so the next thing we're gonna put in there is cheese. Again, you can opt to put it in or not. I opt to. This is white sharp cheddar. I buy it in the bricks when it's on sale, and then I shred it myself, and I freeze it. And you can see, shredding it, freezing it, it comes out of that bag just wonderfully. So if you wanna stock up on some cheese, buy it when it's on sale, blocks of cheese, shred it, put it in. I'm gonna add a little bit more because I like cheese. This one is a mixture of cheddar, white, and yellow. Now this one clumped a little bit because I left it set out, it thawed, and it clumped together. But I can still manipulate it and crumble it apart. See how nice that crumbles? So don't be afraid to freeze your cheese and buy it when it's on sale, so you have a frugal kitchen with spending frugal dollars to eat healthy and creative like this. I'm gonna stir that up. Then we're gonna go make the dough. Empanadas, roll them out so we can fill them up. To have a tortilla press. That would be the easiest way to do this, but I don't own one. So I'm gonna use parchment paper, okay? Get my cookie sheet out. And the amount of dough I have should make about 8 empanadas, I'm guessing. Get that lined. So let's get these separated. You can use a baggie, silicone, or a parchment, whatever you want to do to roll these out. Whatever works for you. I think I'm going to use one piece. That's what I'm going to do. A little flour on here, not much. There we go. You want these circular. How nice that is. See? Roll it out to where it's in a circle. There we go. We want to get our mix right inside. Just like that. Fill them up as much as you want. I'm going to fold it in half, like so. We're going to pinch it together. And I'm kind of churning it up a bit, inward, and then pinch it, but they stay together. See how nice that is? Wonderful? Okay. Got the cookie sheet. Here's one. All right, let's do another one. The oven just now let me know it's ready. So we'll get it in there in just a moment. They're gonna cook for about 20 minutes. Again, play with your time. Depending upon where you live, your altitude will change everything when it comes to baking in the oven. Temperature, it might fluctuate. Timing will fluctuate because of altitude. All right. Go. Perfect. Now what we want to do is give it an egg wash. And this will help keep them from splitting open too much on any of them that have weak spots. It'll help keep everything all closed up for me the way I want. In spots. All right, so these are gonna go in the oven for about 20 minutes and then I'll check them at 375. So, the empanadas are done. It smells wonderful in this kitchen. I ended up letting them cook for 35 minutes instead of 25. Altitude changes things. And mine were stuffed pretty full. I was able to get the other meat bagged and sealed. And the empanada meat I didn't use, also frozen, bagged, sealed, ready for the freezer. And the whole dinner took from start to finish about an hour to make it, put it together, and bake it. So let's get it out of the oven. They look great. Aren't those beautiful looking? And surprisingly enough, they didn't break open. So now I'm gonna get them off the cookie sheet, onto a plate. Let them cool for about 15 minutes. And we'll cut them and have dinner. Look how beautiful those are. Isn't that nice? They're warm, but look how nicely those cooked. Like I stated, they did not break open. Beautiful. I hope you give these a try in your home. They're really easy to make. As I've stated several times, don't let cooking or baking panic you, thinking it's just too difficult. It really isn't. Pretty simple. Follow the basics of this recipe, and then just be creative. Look how beautiful those look. So let's get one cut open so you can see the inside. We'll start with the little one. Again, before you eat these, let them cool for about 10-15 minutes. And this is a dish you just pick up and eat with your fingers. But I'm going to cut it open so you can see it. Look how beautiful that is. Isn't that nice? Nice and full with all that meat, vegetables. I shouldn't take a bite because it's going to be hot. But let's do it. Oh my God. That is so good. See how layered that is in there with the meats, the vegetables, the spinach, and then the dough. That, folks, is how you make an empanada. So, I thank you for coming along. I hope you liked the video. Please give me a thumbs up. That helps the algorithms send my video out more so other people will enjoy it. And if you so feel to subscribe if you haven't done so yet, please do. I thank you for coming along. Let me go get Kevin and we'll have our dinner. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Ciao. No apologies. You do you, boo.